The other night, I was in a live stream of creator EKCPeopleSuck and heard something said that rubbed me the wrong way. For context, Erin is reacting to an Instagram live of Without a Crystal Ball, otherwise known as Katie Joy, in which she alleges that her pride flag has been vandalized. The details of the incident, or whether you believe they happened as Katie said, are irrelevant to what I have to say, but if you're interested, it's been covered by a bunch of creators in the anti-KJ community. Anyways, here's the clip.
That they had the flag because she's one of the members of, the gay community. But she's not. I mean, and I wrote a blog post about this, and the thing is like, if this is how I look at it. If I'm living a heterosexual life, I'm not putting myself at risk. There's no danger. I'm not looking at possible discrimination or prejudice or, God forbid, anything worse. So then I do not feel it is right for me to then go around telling everyone that I'm bisexual when I'm not acting on that. I'm acting on my heterosexuality. So, I mean, she's to try and get like the accolades or the perks or whatever of like going through Gay Pride Month, for example, and saying that you're bisexual and stuff while living a heterosexual life, to me that comes across as disingenuous, and it's kind of like stealing gay valor. That's what I equate it to. For me, anyways, that's my choice. I won't go around labeling myself as bisexual when I'm living a heterosexual life. I'm not going to do that. But if I'm living a gay life, then I will.
Before I start, I just want to say that I'm not trying to get Erin cancelled. I'm still subbed to her channel and agree with a lot of what she usually has to say. But this clip is so representative of the particular kind of discrimination that bisexuals face every day. And given that it's still Pride Month, I felt wrong not addressing it. I also took a look at the blog post Erin mentions. If interested, you can pause to read it in its entirety, or I'll have it linked below in the description box. The first thing I take major issue with is her definition of bisexuality. Bisexuals are not part gay and part straight, they're 100% bisexual. That's true whether they're in a relationship with a man, a woman, or if they're single. Assuming that a bisexual person is heterosexual if they're with a different sex partner, or homosexual if they're with a same-sex partner, is a form of bi-erasure. I'm going to assume Erin knows that a person's sexuality doesn't magically change every time the gender of their partner does. I think what she's really concerned with here is the appearance of the relationship to the outside world. She says in her blog post that, quote, there isn't even a hint of impropriety surrounding Katie being involved with the same sex. She never even leaves her house unless it's with her husband, a man. She has little to no risk of harm or discrimination due to her sexuality based on how she lives her life. You see, Katie is not marginalized. Katie, like myself, is living the life of straight privilege. What Erin is referring to here is called straight passing privilege, the idea that bisexuals with opposite sex partners are afforded a privilege of safety and acceptance because their relationships are perceived as heterosexual. I do agree that straight passing does exist in certain circumstances, although this idea makes a lot of assumptions about the individuals in that relationship. For example, it assumes that they're both gender conforming. When a bisexual woman dating a cis man, like Katie, leaves the house, she will be on the receiving end of fewer slurs, threats, and violence. But I hesitate to call it privilege, because that quote-unquote privilege only exists so long as the woman keeps her orientation a secret. If someone has to lie about their sexuality to avoid violence, how is that any different than being in the closet? And there's a lot more to the discrimination that LGBTQIA+ individuals face than harassment on the street. Research consistently shows that, compared to straight and gay people, bisexuals have higher rates of employment discrimination, poverty, difficulty seeking immigration relief, and mental health disparities. Bisexual teens are at the highest risk for bullying, truancy, and self-harm. And before you tell me that just walking down the street holding hands without fear of violence is a privilege, consider that the violence bisexuals are most likely to face on account of their sexuality is from their opposite sex partners. In fact, bisexuals are much more likely to be victims of rape, stalking, and domestic violence. Despite these disparities, only 3 to 20% of all people accessing LGBTQ services are bisexual, a phenomenon that recent studies and reports suggest is explained in part by a fear of judgment or biphobia. And many even note bisexuals in opposite-sex relationships as particularly affected in this way. So while Erin obviously shouldn't seek out services she doesn't feel she is in need of, I take issue with her condescending attitude towards the idea, because there are bisexual women in opposite-sex relationships that desperately do. Erin also makes a point of noting that she doesn't feel Katie has been enough of an ally to call herself a member of the LGBTQIA+ community, to which I must ask, how much money does one need to give to nonprofits and how many marches does one need to attend to be allowed to speak publicly about their sexuality? To answer the question Erin poses in the title of her blog post, no, stealing gay valor is not a thing. There are still a few more days of June left, a month all about celebrating self-affirmation, acceptance, and visibility. I would never tell another person they haven't earned the right to live in their truth. That isn't something we should gatekeep. It isn't something that can be stolen. And to tell bisexual women like me that we can't celebrate pride or proudly discuss our sexuality, because we happen to be currently dating a man, to equate it to, quote, someone who has never served our military, dressing up in uniform, claiming to have seen some shit in battle, fishing for respect, demanding to be acknowledged for their sacrifice, and then enjoying all the free coffee and donuts on Veterans Day, is a shitty thing to do. Thanks for watching everyone and happy Pride.